Hi everyone, I'm Christian and I'm going to discuss my business CJ Pixel web development with you this morning. I've recently caught a bug and was up a lot of the night, so please forgive me for my delivery if it's a little off. So anyways, I build websites that handle bookings, appointments and events, and I specialize in making them for those who treat and those who cure. But who am I referring to? I'm referring to all types of therapists. Therapists play an important role in society, as I believe improving the well-being of just one person can in turn improve the lives of many others. And there's so many different types of therapists out there, from physiological to mental. You can see a list on the left. So to try and demonstrate my service, I've created a fictional therapy practice. Last presentation, I did a case study about a self-employed therapist. This time it is based on a therapy practice that has a team of employees, so you can see more of what the booking system can handle. I'm going to run you through how the booking system can be configured, and then inshallah run you through a live demo. So the practice offers 4 services: psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, rapid transformational therapy, and consultation calls. For each of these categories, a 1 hour session can be booked, each with their own price. The packages are shown on the right, which offer a bundle discount of 10%. So a psychotherapy session for an hour is £80, but a psychotherapy course of 5 1 hour sessions is £360. This will become clearer in the live demo. So here we have the working hours of the practice itself. The practice runs typical hours Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, but also offers services on Saturday morning. As you can see on the right, bank holidays can be added for the entire practice. Notice the red and orange marked holidays. Orange is repeated every year for fixed dates, such as Christmas, which is the same day every year. And red is one-off days, such as Good Friday, which is a different day every year. So this can also be utilized for things like training days. So this practice employs 3 therapists: Mr. Dugson, Mr. Johnson, and Mrs. Jameson. Douglas handles all consultation appointments where he discusses the client's needs with the aim of finding the best solution for them moving forward. Jane is the only employee who offers all 3 of their therapy services, and at least 2 of them can provide each service. Below each of their assigned services, you can see days that they have booked off for holiday. Notice the orange marked holiday for Douglas. This is a recurring date he wants off every year for his birthday. Also notice that John Johnson has a special day. This is a day he is only working 9 to 3 p.m. as he has a doctor's appointment in the afternoon. While the practice has its opening hours, each employee can have their own working hours that align best with their lifestyle. So Douglas has Monday off, and whilst he works Saturday morning, he only offers appointments for consultations on that day. However, John offers psychotherapy and RTT sessions on Saturday mornings, so they are still covered for those services on a Saturday. And Jane works a typical 9 to 5. So now that I've shown you how it is all configured on the back end, let me show you how this works on the front end. Can you see the website?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay, so this website, therapy.cjpixel.dev, is a sample website I've created for anybody to visit and explore. It's a one-page website designed to give therapists an idea of what I can build for them and to demo the booking system. So if you click on the links in the navigation, it will simply scroll to the relevant section on the page. So we've got services, frequently asked questions. This shows some of the typical questions I get about booking a website. And you can also find a contact form, a little bit about the services. But then I also made this Meet the Team carousel, where you can get to know a bit about each therapist. This is particularly useful for getting to know them a bit more personally, but also because when you use the booking system, you could specify which therapist you wanted, or you could leave it blank and let it randomly select. So if we have a look at the booking system and we go to book a consultation call, we go into services, consultation, and then book. And then, as previously discussed, Douglas handles all of the consultation calls. So if we go through, have a look at what's available, we can see that you can't book a Monday because Doug has Mondays off. And all these dates with a little bit of shading at the bottom represent time slots that have already been booked. So if we go to book a date and time, you can see all the available times here. You can go through, put in your details, and then it'll go to payments. Now, because this is a demo website, I haven't integrated the payment system, but rest assured that for the clients who do want the payments integrated with the booking form, it's all handled with Stripe, but it's all done through this booking form. So there would be just a card number, security code, and typical things that you have for purchasing it. So it wouldn't send you to another page. So if we go through and then boom, we booked a consultation call. So Douglas will get an email confirming the appointment, and so will the customer. So let's say that the therapy practice started a marketing campaign offering 20% for a limited time on psychotherapy sessions. When I go to book psychotherapy session, like I mentioned before, you have the choice of choosing your therapist here. And it only shows the ones which offer those services. So you've got Douglas and Jane for this. And then for psychotherapy, you have all three therapists who offer that service. So if we choose John Johnson and we go through the package that offers 5 together at a 10% discount is prompted here for the user. But because we have a 20% off discount, we want to skip this for now and make the most out of that coupon. So if we go through, we have a look, and in the same manner, we find a date and time, and then we can go through and book it. Now, I want to make the most out of this coupon, so I'm going to maybe book 3 appointments, and I want this repeating every week, and I want it to recur 2 more times. So when I go through, it gives me all the dates which it's automatically put in. And if, say, 11:30 wasn't available on the October the 15th, it would simply give the closest date and time that's available after then. And then you can reconfigure this so it's either the closest time before or the closest time after. So it's very flexible in that manner. And then when we go to book through, we've got the coupon. So we put it in here. Add that. And there's the discount. And again, now it's booked and they'll get an email confirmation and so will I. And also, if the service is delivered remotely and given on Zoom, then we can integrate that so that in that booking confirmation, it's already sent you the Zoom link for that date and time. And that's all automatically scheduled in the therapist's Zoom account. And you can also have that for multiple employees. So every employee's Zoom account is also integrated. So that's the end of the demo. Go back to the presentation. So some of the benefits a website like this can offer. The seamless booking system reduces any kind of friction to getting an appointment. Clients can book an appointment at any time of the day. And having the booking system removes any uncomfortable handling of payments with a customer. Clients can easily see all of their appointments and see how efficiently their time is being used. The charts on the right shows some of the metrics that are then shown on the back end of the website, which you can access. So it shows how many services have been booked and which therapist has how many appointments booked over which dates and times. So it can show you how you can best allocate your time, and it shows a workload metric for the week, showing how much of that time has been utilized. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, if you stop sharing, that'd be great. And then.
Okay, hold on. I'm a little lost.
Stop sharing with me. Come on, sorry.
I was looking on the wrong screen.
Brilliant. That was really good, actually. It was really nice to actually see how it actually works, because it really made sense. So yeah, it was a really good presentation, Christian. So any questions? Ian?
Fascinating. I love the fact that you're prepared to do a live demo. None of us would. The thing which I can, one was these are nerdy questions. I'm sorry. One was meal breaks. It looked as when you were showing the availability that there wasn't in there for lunch or things like that. I have blanked out time between 1 and 2 on my calendars to ensure that nobody can come into that time. But that presumably is something you can do there.
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Ian. And I love the nerdy questions. But yeah, you can do that. I just hadn't configured it for this practice. But any question, even if it's a different time on each day of the week or whatever, you can specify half an hour off, and for each employee as well. Like if Doug wants 1 to 2 off and Jane wants 12:30 to 1:30 off, then it can all be done in that way.
Right. And if I may, a second question, which is relating to how far out you can put these these calendars. So I'm thinking of 2 examples. One is good and one is very bad. I use Calendly, and Calendly goes out for 2.5 months, something like that, as far as which I think is absolutely fine as far as booking something with somebody. I think of doctor's surgeries. And if you phone after 8 o'clock, you won't get an appointment for the next day. And I think what's going on with the calendars? Is this something to do with complexity and the fact that the GP surgery is just something that you don't want to enter into for a whole variety of reasons, or is it something to do with processing capacity and things like that? So Calendly at one end, which seems to happily process several months. And the calendar of a surgery not wanting to do much more than a day in advance. I've never got it.
Yeah. Well, with this, you can choose however many days in advance you want to book. So whether it's a year in advance or 2 weeks in advance or whatever, then it's flexible in that manner. As for GP surgeries and why you can't book in that way and stuff, I don't know if it's more to do with the nature of the industry and stuff, or the protocol of some of the information and how it has to get processed through, and they need to check your NHS number before they go into this. And the NHS system, from what I hear, is on a very archaic system. I've heard there's 2 different systems and they don't really communicate with each other, and it's all a bit of a nightmare. So that's what I've heard anyway from someone who's spent a long time in the medical field. But I don't know.
GP practices are business. I'm going into we're going off piece, but GP practices are businesses in their own right, which need to be integrated. But they're run and invested by the doctors who are in the practice. So it's I think I'm going to leave the subject, because otherwise I will not have a good day.
Better go and see the doctor then, hadn't you?
It's after 8 o'clock. I know it is.
Oh,
sorry, guys.
No, it's not. You've still got time.
Yeah.
Christian, sorry. Thank you for that. And it is, as I say, I just think it's great. You can talk it as much as you like, but when you actually see it, it just means so much more. It does to me as well. So thank you for that. I do have couple of questions in there, and I'm backing up about the lunch break. And one thing we've got with our calendar at the moment, which is not as good or as complex as yours or efficient as yours, is we book our sessions for 90 minutes, even though it's only an hour session. So we've got half an hour catch up because quite often people are late and whatever. And, you know, if they're 10 minutes late, you don't want to say, sorry, you lose 10 minutes. And it gives us time to turn the studio around when it's studio work.
Mm.
Just making that as a comment. But my question to you is, and I think I've said this before to you, now that I've seen the demo, why do you keep saying about hypnotherapists, psychotherapists, all therapists? Because I think this is available to a broad range of businesses. It doesn't have to stick to that. Because in a way, I'm assuming the whole principle is the same. It's just whether you're booking a doctor with a therapist, whatever it is on the end of it, as opposed to a photographer, maybe even a builder, and you book them out for half-day slots or 2-hour appointments to see whatever for a consultation. That's me just taking it from one extreme to another. As much it could be for life coaches to accountants to anything. Because I think that sort of thing is really good. And I like the graph at the very end where you said this is where people have been looking, but also that's where it's actually got the conversion, if I understood the graph correctly.
Yeah. It shows like how many times it's been viewed as well, and how many times it's actually been booked. But yeah, two points on that was first bit that you said about the 90 minutes, and then it gives you time after is like it's interesting because how you can configure this booking system, you can set a buffer time before and after for certain services. So like if you need like 15 minutes, half an hour before an appointment or after to like, I don't know, reset your studio or whatever, then yeah, like it will still show, oh, the studio's booked for 60 minutes. That's all they'll see. But then it's actually taken 90 minutes on your calendar so that you have the time and they're not kind of like misled as to like how much time they're getting. And then as to like why therapists, it's just to be honest, it's just more of a matter of kind of picking a niche for me. Like I'm happy to do the work and do booking systems for any industry, and not just booking systems, any websites as well. And like build e-commerce websites and other stuff. But my thinking was I needed to pick an industry, and I wanted to pick one which I like what they do. And like I mentioned earlier, like the fact that they work on helping people is just such a great thing. So in turn, I want to try and help them. But yeah, like there's no kind of reason I wouldn't do it to anyone else. It was just more that I feel like the more specific I target, the easier it is for me to speak to that audience. So in my like social media marketing and stuff, I'm kind of doing new things with LinkedIn. So like I am like positioning myself more as like, you know, trying to be the port of call for like these kind of therapy practices and people who are self-employed in that kind of industry.
I get that, but just don't shut yourself away is what I'm trying to say to you as well.
Yeah. No, thank you for the advice.
I suppose the only thing you could do, you know, your front page where you say you do blah blah blah, you could just change your front page for, you know, if it was photographers or insurance agents, whatever it was, you could just change your front page. So if you're doing it, if you're doing it to one of your therapists, you use your therapist. If it's a non-therapy, you could just change your front page because the same bit would work the same. You know, this is 3 people who work in the photography studio, and these are 3 people that the slots they do. So you could do very similar. You could just say that and say, well, I'll show you what would happen in a dental practice or something, and just go through each of 3 people that you've got anyway. But yeah, you could. But yeah, no, as I said, it's so nice to see it live because it makes sense. And if I was looking to use something like that, I think, oh God, that I could see it work for my business type thing. So yeah, I thought it was really good.
Very much so. Yeah.
No, thank you. But with the what you're saying about the front page bit, is it's also like a matter of SEO marketing strategy as well. It's like Google obviously sees all the keywords on your page and stuff. So I want it all kind of like geared for a specific kind of market, which isn't as competitive as just saying everyone is building a website. You know. But at the same time, long term, I am kind of thinking still along your lines where, so that website is therapy.cjpixel.dev. I might make photography.cjpixel.dev for photographers, or like videographer, or I don't know, whatever lifecoaches.cjpixel.dev. I might just make a one-page sample website for each of them in that way, but obviously it takes me a little bit of time to like create it. But no, thank you.
Ian, sorry.
Just one other question. The portal or whatever it is that you refer to access the booking system. If somebody wanted to incorporate that into their overall web pages of a business, is it a button that you would use to access the system, or is it a separate page? And in terms of, again, it's following up Andrew's point about it being used in other businesses, and how it would display itself on, I don't know, my web page. How would that work? Is it just a button that then goes into your box of tricks?
So I don't quite understand what you mean, because the booking system would be made on the website, but it could be put on the booking system could be put on multiple pages.
Okay. Right.
And then I would give the client themselves like a login to the back end of the website, which would only have access to the booking system, so that they couldn't break the website, but they could like look at the services, change the prices and the schedule, or add a holiday. But sorry, I'm not sure if that answers your question.
I think the one thing we didn't see, but maybe I overlooked it, is what somebody coming onto the website of one of the therapists sees and says, "Oh, okay, this looks nice. I want to book something." So they have a booking page, or is there a button on each page which says, "Make a reservation, make a booking, make an appointment"?
Well, they would see the booking system when they went on the website,
right?
And
let's put it another way. Maybe it would be worthwhile if there's a link to a live system or something like that to see it. I'm just thinking for my business how it would present, but just to see it on another system would be, again, useful to
by another system. Do you mean something that like isn't a website that's hosting the booking?
I don't know, a client or something like that, and whether it's feasible just to see what it just to see what it looks like. That's all.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Do you mean more like for you to just like if you wanted to try out putting in your own information and seeing how it works for yourself without?
Yeah. That was all. So you have a client, ABC Limited, and I just want to see how it's operating for them without breaking any protocols or the integrity of the system, but just seeing how it looks. That's all.
Okay, so it's like probably more in like the consultation call, because I always would do a discovery call before. I would sometimes, if I think it's required as well, I might quickly mock them up a website as well, like very quickly, that just kind of shows it, and then in that discovery call, I go into the back end of it with them, and then they could see if it could kind of like facilitate any kind of other specific things that they might need.
Okay, so you tailor it to the need of the client, effectively.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm just trying to see how it might work. All right. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Ian.
Killian.
Yeah, just I got one question. Is this therapies has any other functionalities in terms of development time? I don't know if you know the word in here, but development time, it means like, for example, the physiotherapist is doing one service, and to not lose the another appointment, can hold off the another person and go for the second customer. If you know what I mean. Yeah. What I try to say is in terms of the therapy industries. the therapy industries has this functionality, like trying to do one service while trying to cover in a second service at the same time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I see what you mean. I suppose you would probably just call the service something else, and then in the description of the service, you would cover like the different things that were included. Do you see what I mean? You might make it a bit more generic. So I don't know, for instance,
Yeah,
like
the reason I asked that is because, for example, as Ian says, John says as well, like trying to do a different industries. One of the gaps you could find is, for example, in hair studios or barbershops, like
mm,
those people sometimes they can start to do the service with 2 3 people at the same time, and in the system I don't know if that particular booking system has the availability to try to adjust it and move people
y-
around.
yeah, no, it's a very flexible. Like I say, just because I'm choosing therapist doesn't mean that like this booking system is more kind of like specific to therapists. So it if it was like a barbershop or in a situation where you could book a service and you could have more than one person. There's a part of the service, say it was like a group therapy session, and you could set it so that it said, oh, like a minimum of 2 people could have to book this service, maximum 5 people, and then you could do it that way. One thing that I haven't, like on my next presentation, I want to show the events kind of feature of the booking system because I've never had to use it for a client yet, but I think it would be very useful as well. And in a similar manner, like it'll apply to loads of industries where you could just make an event and then you could put a price on it, date, time, location, and then minimum people for it to like have to be booked and stuff. So yeah.
Super. Any other questions, Andrew?
Can I ask a little bit of an elephant in the room, because I think this comes up with every job and every talk thing, is when one purchases this, there's obviously a cost to it. Is it a one-off payment or is it an ongoing? Because some things used to be that we could buy the software and that's it, whereas now it tends to be a monthly fee and probably a setup fee or something. How does this work, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no problem. Basically, if you've got a WordPress website, because this is all I use WordPress for everything. So if you've got a WordPress website, then there's a few different routes that it could go. And one is like I just set it up on the WordPress website that's already existing. And that's just a one-off payment.
Yeah.
But there's no ongoing fee that I ever charge for the booking system itself. Instead, I normally would build a website for the client, and then I take care of the hosting, and the ongoing hosting has a cost. So that's not specific to the booking system. That's keeping the website online, and every website has hosting costs ongoing. So yeah, and then in the different, I offer like 3 different hosting packages, and there's like a basic, pro, and advanced, and in the pro and advanced hosting package, you get more ongoing support and time allocated every month if you needed it for things which can be specific to the booking system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Super.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording. Thanks for that. Very impressed, and I really like the live